right, we are back at it. Happy Monday to you.
Happy
Live
Monday.
JT and Dre Show.
Yes,
JT,
sir.
what's going on with you big time?
Man, what's good with you, man? I feel amazing. This is gonna be a powerful week, man. I'm excited, man. Hey, I know a lot of people hate their Mondays, but listen, you in the wrong business if you hate your Mondays, right?
Mm.
You need to switch over. You need to switch over, come over to this entrepreneur life, because man, I was so glad God woke me up this morning, man. Can't
Woo.
wait to work this week.
And you know the crazy thing about life is I believe 80% of people can totally dictate what they want to do in life. I think 20% of people are kind of stuck, unfortunately.
Yep,
I think 80% though have full control.
for sure.
Actually, let's start there. I think 80% of people have full control over their lives. And I feel the only reason people don't change their lives is they have to, one, it has to be a rush.
Mm-hmm.
They feel that if it's not done in 2 weeks, 6 months, maybe 18 months, they fail. Meanwhile, they're going to be alive statistically till 70 plus.
Yep.
So if you're young people have it the worst. Oh my God. I remember a few years ago, I was working with a lot of young people, and they thought that if they didn't have $1 million at 24, 28, that they felt like, yo, let's chill out a little bit.
So social media got them traumatized.
Man, I respect your ambition and your desire to get there, but can we get a duplex?
Yeah.
Can we get some land? Can we get a roommate? Little Airbnb action, Section 8. Let's just start the wheel. And I wish more people would move with urgency. Remember, I don't eat unless I get a sale. But I wish people would move with urgency, hold themselves accountable for things they don't do, also give themselves some time. I have a theory, JT. I think damn near anybody can have $500,000 to $1 million net worth in 3 to 7 years. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, for sure. 3 to 7 years, for sure. I dare say easy, right? We was talking a little bit offline about it, but what I have found to work for me, and then I thought it was a big secret till I realized a whole lot of other successful people do the same thing. Man, strategic partnerships. Strategic partnerships can get you there way quicker. For anybody that's unfamiliar with the term of strategic partnerships, right? So you need to find somebody that is strong where you're weak at, but is also weak where you're strong at. And then you go and have a conversation with that man, that woman, that business owner. So for example, right, I have a fairly above average understanding of organic growth on Instagram and YouTube. I had a conversation with a friend of mine on he been in Instagram jail for almost a year now. So they've been suppressing his content. And I was like, well, hey, try this strategy to post. And he said, he got over 4,000 people on his page, which is a lot for him when he was having, close to nobody checking on his Instagram page. He got like 4,000 people to come check out his post. And he had like 60 of them sign up for his webinar. That's a free webinar that he's going to upsell them to his product. So that being said, right, let's say that if I understand organic growth, organic digital marketing, but I suck at, I don't know, let's say I suck at paid ads, just keeping it in the marketing film, right? So I could go find somebody that says, hey, I'm a rock star with paid ads, but I don't understand how to grow organically at all. But if you give me a budget of $100, $1,000 a day, I could take your business out of here. So maybe I could talk to them and say, hey, look, I would like to bring my organic clients to you, and then you can bring your paid ad clients to me. We can create a partnership together where now they can get both sides of it. Now they can learn how to scale through paid media, and they can learn how to scale organically. So that way there's no limitations in their business as far as growth goes. So you have to identify what your strength is in your business. The first mistake that a lot of people make is that they're not real business owners. They're super techs, and that's why they can't form any strategic partnerships. So a super tech is a term that my uncle is one of the biggest general contractors down in Charleston, South Carolina. Been doing it longer than I've been alive. And he said that the problem that he used to have is that, let's say you got a great HVAC person, a great plumber, a great electrician, they'll get to a point where they feel like, hey, I'm seeing how much money you charging these people. I'm seeing how much money you getting paid. And then it's not like they're getting paid nothing, but they feel like I could get way more money, right? Let's say that for the electrical, you charged them $21,000, you gave me $4,000. It took me a week to do it, right? Now, $4,000 a week, not bad, right? On average, what is that? You making 16 grand a month as an electrician, right? I don't know anybody that'll be mad making 16 grand a month, but they're so focused on he charged 20 grand on the job, only gave me 4, and I did all of the work. So eventually what they'll do is they'll quit and they'll say, I'll start my own electrician business. And while they were super great at being a technician, they know nothing about business. They don't know how to generate leads. They don't know how to convert leads. They don't know how to retain leads, right? They don't know how to manage the money in the business. They don't know anything about like the 5 banking accounts. They don't know about insurance, social media, ads, none of that. All they know is that if you give me the job, I'll do it at an above average way, but they know nothing about the business. So if you're somebody watching this and you started a business because you were one of the best at what you do, and now you're wondering why nobody will pay you for what you do, is because you're a super tech. So your first strategic partnership should be with somebody that knows business. So yes, they may not know how to fix the thing or do the thing as good as you, but if they know how do we market, how do we actually build a business with consistent revenue around this, right? You should partner with them and give them an equity split if you don't have the money to pay them up front.
But some people are going to say, well, I don't want to give up equity. This is my business, JT. I don't want to give it up.
Oh, yeah. I'd rather have half a watermelon than a whole grape any day of the week. Right. So a lot of people, man, they holding on to a whole grape. Right, man. Like, nah, I'd rather have half of a watermelon than a whole grape any day. And this is the thing, too, is that what we don't know, some of us don't know, is that equity is not one thing. That's why, like you guys hear me say from time to time, there should be a mandatory entrepreneurial dictionary where they say this is what this word means when you speak entrepreneurship, because you know what it means in English, but you don't know how to speak entrepreneurship. So in business, I can give you equity, meaning that I can give you part of the control of the business, or I can give you part of just the money, the revenue split. I can give you revenue equity. I can give you control equity. Most people think that when they give up equity, they got to give up both. I got to give you 25% of the money, and you got to be able to make 25% of the decisions. No, when we hear that Jeff Bezos is not the majority owner of Amazon, right? We think that, okay, that he's only making a small amount of the decisions. Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, right? Big leaders in their company, believe it or not, they're still the majority say so in a lot of these rooms, right? They just not getting the majority of the money. Right. So they might have a lesser percentage than 50% as far as the equity financially goes, but the decision-making power, you can own 51% decision-making power in a business and only take 5% of the equity. And if this is a big enough pie, let's say it's $1 million, right? If me and you were to partner together and we figure out how to make $1 million a month, I'm actually going to be in an event Thursday through Sunday with several entrepreneurs that consistently do this, right? So let's say I can do a partnership with you and I can introduce you to my friends that already do it. We can figure out a way to do it if you're the right person, right? And then I say, well, I only want 5% of the equity financially, but because you're new, because you're a super tech, I need 51% of the decision-making power, because you don't know what decisions to make, not because you're dumb, not because you're a bad person. It's just you're inexperienced in this area. And I don't want to have to battle you every time there's a decision that needs to be made, because success loves speed. So I need the power to go ahead and make decisions that's in the best interest of the growth and the profitability of the business. But I'm cool with getting 5% of $1 million, which is $50,000 a month, right? And of course, you can dial it all the way down to $1,000 a month for whatever the play is, right? But for sure, don't be afraid of giving up equity. And the reason why is because you don't have to give up the majority of decision-making equity, right?
Bingo. Yes, I'm a fan of getting it done, and most people don't have everything that it takes.
For sure. Nobody, I dare say nobody in and of themselves, without having to learn it from somebody, without having to use somebody else's software, without, whatever, right? Like even right now, this show, we didn't create any of the software that we're leveraging to put out this show. But hey, we partner with them. So hey, look, hey, they want some money. We want the utility of their software. Hey, that's what we're doing.
And the thing about it is you don't have to know everything.
For sure.
The best entrepreneurs don't try to learn everything because they know it's an ego play, which we always talk about people's desire and need to be right over progress.
Yeah, it's actually a bad thing to know everything because those are the people that fall into analysis paralysis. What I've noticed about my brothers and sisters that's not where they want to be financially speaking, and they are, let's say, making less than $100,000 a year. Because I know some multimillionaires that still would say they're not where they want to be. But my brothers and sisters that's making less than $100,000 a year versus my brothers and sisters that make more than $100,000 or $1 million plus a year is that the more successful people need to know something, and then they'll go do everything. So they'll find out everything else. They'll do everything else. All they need to know is that this is the right direction to reach your goals, right? My brothers and sisters that are not on that level yet, they got a bajillion questions, and every answer creates another question in their mind. So they never get to the point where they actually take action. So it's actually better. Like, for example, I bought a software company maybe like a couple weeks ago or so. We talked about it. I'm paying somebody to redo everything. Hopefully I'll get news back by the end of this week that's turned over, man. So as far as knowing the technical side of how to do everything in my software company, no idea, right? I'm going to know that it works. I'm going to have somebody on my team that can fix it if it breaks, that can update it as we want to advance it. But if somebody was to like, hey, what's the code behind your software so I can code my own? Like, not only do I not know, I don't even care, right? so for sure, right?
Trying to find out.
Yeah.
Once people put integrity and progress above everything else, they'll win.
Yep.
Integrity and progress above everything else. So stagnation, not launching, overthinking, procrastination, it's all a form of self-sabotage.
Yep.
Meaning it's all a form of, I'm going to delay this because I don't think it's going to work. I'm scared of success, so I am going to find ways to delay this.
Yep.
Once you shake that in life, it's up. It is up. Nobody knows everything. You're going to do your best work in the game.
Yep.
Practice is cool. Practice is needed, but you have nothing. Nothing beats in the game performance. What did my man Allen Iverson say? Practice. He said practice. Yeah. Get in the game. No matter what the industry is, get in the game. What question you got for me, JT?
Yep, for sure. What not necessarily a question, but just like I wanna pick your brain for the benefit of the audience. Okay. Is like, man, so a lot of people that do struggle with making decisions, I think it's because of past trauma. It could be something that somebody said to them in the past. It could be past failures. I tried something similar and it didn't work out. Or I seen somebody that I love, like my friends, my family members, try it and it didn't work out for them. So what has made you resilient? So why do you still do business knowing that somebody else has tried this and failed, lost money, went out of business, whatever, right? Maybe you've seen other people that failed that were close to you. You like, know, and trust those people, right? So for the person that's viewing this, like how did you become so resilient, and how do you maintain so resilient in business, because the hardest part is starting, and most people never have the courage to start.
Yeah. A couple of things keep me resilient. One, success. Two, you can't take naps at a job. They'll fire you. You can't take naps at a job. You can't do a midday show. Hey, doing a midday show at a job. So the freedom and flexibility. Three, I don't need to make a ton to live.
That's a gem that go over a lot of people's heads, because there's a lot of people that's broker than you, but their bills are higher than you. In terms of percentage, can you break that down? Like, do you think you spend half of what you make on surviving? Do you think it's 75% of what you make on surviving, or like your bills to income ratio?
Bills to income ratio, I need, because we need maybe $5,000 to live. Right? I could do that. I could do that with a business. I could do that with a business. And the next thing, JT, I think jobs paying, let's just say 80 a year, are harder to get than are harder than to make in entrepreneurship. I think it would be harder for me. No, I've actually tested this. It's harder for me to get a job paying 80 plus a year. Let's just use that number. Than it is to make $80,000 a year as an entrepreneur. And if we factor in the fact you don't need the travel time to a job. So if you start work at 9, you really have to be up at 7 the latest, maybe 6. If you get off at 5, you're home maybe 6:30, depending on how far the job is, maybe 6. Then you decompress. There are just so many options. So I like to focus on the MVP. Of course, we want $1 million weeks, $1 million months, all that stuff. But I like to focus on the MVP first, minimal viable product. What do you need for you to be free, JT? Now, my number might be different from yours, or vice versa. But everybody should know their number. And most people say, well, I need to make $10,000 a month as an entrepreneur. When you're making $3,500 a month at your job, I'm like, do you need that?
Or is it would be nice. Yeah, it would be nice. Yeah.
And I'm not saying don't go for it, but let's just focus on the needs. So the next reason why I stay committed, when you have ambitious friends, the good thing about having ambitious friends is this. One, it will let you know what? Ambition is cool, but it's not for me. Two, it will put in your face, it's out there. It is out there. And three, now I feel most people aren't haters, right? Now there are some haters. But I feel most people aren't haters. Most people look at it as, wow, that's amazing. I'm happy for you. Stop me to get mines. Three, it's like, man, like they're in the Bahamas, they're in Fiji, they've got property overseas, they got their mom retired. It's like, there's a whole different life. And when it's so close to you, you have no excuse not to get it. So those are my 5 reasons why I keep going, JT.
For sure. Hey, and I just wanted to piggyback on something that Dre said. So some of you all know, but for the benefit of everybody that doesn't know, I was homeless in 2017 for a few months, and I thank God for it. So it really showed me where the holes were in my business. Anytime we have like a pullback financially in life, I always look for the lesson. Because I feel like as fast as you can learn the lesson, you can get out of the situation. So, man, I'm super strategic as to where I stay. So, like, if Dre hits me up and it was like, hey, man, a major 7-figure opportunity, I need you to be in Atlanta tomorrow. After we finish this show, I'll jump in my car and I'll drive the 4.5 hours, and I'll be in Atlanta tonight. But so I stayed in a low income part of North Carolina where my entire bills, this was rent, utilities, insurance, and everything, was $800 a month. I drove a little cash car, which might have been like a 2005 Infiniti. And I drove that car for a long time. I ended up giving that car away. It was so old, like I didn't even sell it when I upgraded, right? I just gave it away to my cousin. So, man, I came out of homelessness and landed in a apartment that was $550 a month, and my utility bills were so low, right? All I had was internet, lights, and water, and the lights, water, and trash bill was all on one bill, and I was just by myself at that time. I picked to live in that city strategically because it was so cheap. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably got robbed like 3-4 times, right?
Oh, wow.
Like in my house. Well, I wasn't there, but like while I wasn't home, somebody breaking in your house, breaking in your car, stuff like that. So I'm not telling you to go any place unsafe, but what I am telling you is that go to a place where it strategically aligns with you. A lot of people have this mindset of, okay, I was born in New York, so I got to die in New York. Even more narrow than that. If I was born in Brooklyn, I got to die in Brooklyn, right? If I was born in Atlanta, I got to die in Atlanta. So while Atlanta, Brooklyn, wherever you from might be amazing, that may not be the most fertile soil for you to plant your seed right now. So maybe you need to go outside of the city, or maybe even to a whole nother state, a whole nother city where there's opportunities that will allow you to multiply your money. I stayed in that location 2 years. I went from being homeless to making over $50,000 a month. And then when I left that apartment in the hood, I bought a 3-story house. Every year since then, until last year, right, I stopped buying houses every single year cash. So the point that I'm making here is, even now at the level I'm at, right, my bills outside of my business, because I got employees, we run ads, I pay for software. I'm trying to learn how to buy companies, so we spending money on that. But just as far as like my lifestyle, $2,000 a month. I don't stay in a major city, but if there's an opportunity in a major city, I know how to book a flight. I know how to get in the car. I travel everywhere with a 70-year-old uncle, like that's just been my road dog for forever. So, man, so like we'll get on the road in a moment's notice. And the reason why, right? So I stay a little ways away from Charlotte, North Carolina. I feel like most people have heard of Charlotte, right? So when I first decided to move from the hood, I was looking at houses in Charlotte. At the time, those houses was like 700, 800,000. Keep in mind, I'm making 50 grand a month. Business is doing great. I can afford to buy a $700,000 or $800,000 house. I asked myself, long term, what's my goal? So long term, my personal goal is I want to retire outside of the United States, and I want to leverage United States markets, like the United States economy, since it's so strong and it's so profitable, to finance my life and my future generations. So I don't necessarily need a mansion anywhere in the United States. If I end up with one, cool, but I don't need a mansion for validation purposes or for somebody to believe that I'm a successful entrepreneur. So as I was doing my research, I said, well, okay, there are other markets that are not as popular as Charlotte, but the real estate is way cheaper. Instead of spending $700,000 for a house, I paid $268,000 for a house, right? And then that house went up over $120,000 in equity in the last 3-4 years I've been owning it. Whereas the house that I could have bought for $700,000, yeah, it's up to over $800,000 and some change now. But that house has been sitting on the market. Somebody bought it, sold it, right? I had my realtor look at it, and there was like, man, in the notes that we can't see, there's some kind of major repairs that needs to be done, and nobody wants to actually foot the bill to do $100,000 and something worth of repairs on it. So that's why it stays on the market so long, right? But I say all of that to say this, is that never be afraid to strategically make a move that might look like a sacrifice in the eyes of other people, right? I don't know if you play chess at all, Dre, but sometimes you might sacrifice a piece on the board that somebody else will be like, oh, that's crazy, right? I would never sacrifice my queen. I would never sacrifice my rook, my bishop, my whatever, right? But if that sacrifice allows you to win the overall game, then that's the game. So sometimes I might have to move. Now, I own over $1 million worth of real estate. I can lease or sell, if I wanted to, all of my properties and go buy any house I want just off of my real estate. Not my media, not the software company we hopefully will launch next week, not any of my other endeavors that I'm a part of, right? But it was all because I was strategic enough to not have other people tell you what you should do with your money. Because I think, man, just calling a spade, Black people are the worst at that. If Dre makes 10,000 a month, they gonna say, Dre, you that you need to be in Gucci every time I see you. Gucci, Dior, Prada. Like I bet I never see you in no regular clothes. Even your bed clothes need to be designer. You need to go to bed in a $3,000 pajamas, right?
Every day too.
Yeah, every day in a different pair too. Don't wear the same ones twice. So they'll say, this is the kind of car you're supposed to drive. This is the kind of house you're supposed to live in. This is how you need to, every time I see you, hey, where your diamonds at, right? You're supposed to have diamonds in your ear, around your neck, on your wrist, everywhere you're supposed to be shining, right? But understand this, a lot of people that have those opinions, they never have and never will make the kind of money that you're making in business or that you desire to make in business. They don't understand that the people that they got this idea from, consciously or subconsciously, were called lifestyle marketers, right? I was raised off of Lil Wayne and Nelly, right? We need to believe that Lil Wayne and Nelly are the coolest, richest people ever, right? Reason why, I don't care who you are, reason why black people wear Air Force Ones is because of Nelly, right? Reason why black people started skateboarding was because of Lil Wayne. Now, these names might be completely irrelevant to the young people that's watching this because it's been so many generations removed. But Dre, me and you might remember where it was a time where, okay, you might have had a skateboard, but you wasn't a skateboarder, right? Yeah. As a black guy, it just was a toy that your parents bought you that you played around with, but you wasn't a super serious skateboarder before Lil Wayne. Right, Air Force Ones was cool, but they wasn't like the shoe you had to have until Nelly dropped Air Force Ones. And I say that to say this, is that a lot of people, you're saying, I would look this way because other people that are successful that I admire look this way. You don't understand that when they look that way, that's because they're a billboard. They're trying to sell you new music. They're trying to sell you new clothes. They're trying to sell you the next liquor brand. They're trying to sell sponsors on, hey, look, when people see me, I get a lot of engagement, so you should do a sponsored post, pay me $500,000, $1 million. I heard some, I don't want to say his name, I'll tell you offline, but it's some great guys out of Atlanta. They paid Kevin Hart $500,000 to come spend 1 hour at their event. So if you know that if you know that you could demand $500,000 to spend one, they gave more money to Kevin Hart than they gave to David Goggins. I think they said they gave him $160,000. They said they gave Magic Johnson $250,000. I know they did it. I just didn't know how much they paid until behind closed doors, right? Because I saw the event and I saw the guys was there, right? So why do I drop these numbers? Why do I say these names? If you're somebody that knows that your appearance, your lifestyle, how you show up when the cameras are on can allow you to build a brand where you can demand $500,000 an hour, $160,000 a speech, $250,000 a speech. If you Tony Robbins, $1 million a speech, right? Would you not look the way that your ideal customers want you to look, whether you like it or not, right? If somebody told Dre, hey, bro, I give you $500,000 to come do an hour presentation, but I need your Instagram to look different, man. I need you to start, wearing designer top to bottom. You need to have diamonds on every time I see you, right? And we doing this because the kind of people we're trying to attract, that's what they want to see, right? Of course, right? You'll see everybody's timeline change. But understand this, that's not the only path to wealth. I'm not knocking anybody that does that. Right? If you enjoy trophies or designer clothes or nice cars, we all have things that we enjoy. I'm not knocking you if that's you. I'm telling you that don't be misled to thinking that the only way success looks is if it's ostentatious, if it's flashy, if it's in your face, right? Because I know some old guys that if you look at them, you wouldn't look twice. You like, man, like the old guy that sit in the barbershop, right, man? Hey, he worth $100 million. He worth $75 million. You know how much real estate they got. You know how much dividends they got. You know he owns not just this barbershop that he's sitting in and cutting jokes. He owns 35 barbershops, right? But he's so old, he in his late 70s, early 80s, he stopped cutting hair in his 40s and 50s because that's when he started turning up the business, right? It's been 30, 40 years since he been cutting hair. You looking at him, you 27, he ain't cut hair in your lifetime. Right? So you don't even know, hey, this guy been out of here.
Just for context, someone's going to say, well, why would they pay somebody $500,000? Why would they pay Kevin Howard $500,000? Your response would be what?
Yep. Businesses make decisions based off of return on investment. Individuals make decisions based off of how they feel. So just you asking that question insinuates that you're not ready for that level of success, right? So understand this. You might say Kevin Hart not funny. I don't like nothing about him, whatever you want to say, right? But if as a business, you see that, okay, we can get $500,000, we can give it to this individual. Now, we don't like him, but does he do something illegal, immoral, unethical? Nah. You just tell jokes that maybe you are or are not a fan of. His movies, you maybe are or are not a fan of, whatever the case may be. And this was years ago. I'm sure his rates are higher now, right? So I'm not trying to make you think that you're going to get him for that price anyway. But if you could give somebody $500,000 and in an hour they could come talk, but that hour talk or just having them in attendance to your event generated you $2.5 million, would you not give them $500,000 every single month if you could?
Absolutely.
Right. So understand, and that's a nugget I don't want you guys to miss. If you still make decisions based off of how you feel, you are already capped at how much money you can make by how much money you believe you should pay. So you will never make more money than you feel like you should pay, because mentally you're making decisions about how you feel, right? I've been investing in software since December 2024. It's now August 2025, and I still ain't figured it out yet. I have paid more than what the median household income is in bad software and technicians trying to fix them, in self-education courses, ebooks, mentorship programs, right? Why would you spend this much money trying to understand software, right? Because I understand that the future is going to be tied to technology, AI and other tech. So by the grace of God, right? And I heard one of my mentors say this recently. He said, when times are good, that's when you should go the hardest, because times will inevitably get hard and you need to already have that cushion built up by then, right? Ooh. So when times are good, right? So somebody watching this, they not worried about money. Man, I'm working my job. I'm working my business, money coming in. I know I already got the money to pay the bills, right? I already got, that's already in the account, right? Instead of you coasting and being comfortable, you should be going the hardest you ever win in your life. Tony Robbins say winter is always coming, right? Winter is always coming. So you should definitely be going the hardest in your life. And can we get tactical real quick, Dre? Right? So first things first, if I was to audit your business, right? You watching this video, all right, I charge companies $2,500 an hour, but because y'all cool with Dre, y'all cool with me, I'm gonna get to you for free the condensed version. So if you're trying to reach your financial goals, and I can help you go from 0 to 7 figures a year, right? And I own businesses that do 7 figures a month, but I'm a minority owner in the business. Just being transparent, I ain't got no reason to lie to you. So I know what it looks like to make 7 figures a month. But I'm, one of 2 or more owners in those businesses, right? Okay. So that being said, right, I the first thing I would say is that, do you have the identity of the person that can reach 10,000 a month or whatever your goal is, right? Now, identity is who you are without social media. Who are you without your job? Who are you without a mentor? Who are you without somebody patting you on the back, right? How successful will you be with just you and God alone, right? Now, if you need a mentor to make you successful, you're not ready, right? Now,
hold on. If you need a mentor to make you successful, you aren't ready.
You're not ready, right? Because this is the thing, though, right? A good mentor, a good coach is going to give you a blueprint that help you reach your goals that you already want faster and more efficiently, right? So, like, let's say my goal is I want to, and I'm just making these up, right? Because I'm trying to think of what the average person viewing it would want. I want to retire my mom, and I want to pay off my house, pay off my student loans, and be able to go on 4 vacations a year and have $100,000 saved up in the bank, right? I write all these down. Retire my mom, right? Pay off my student loan debt, right? Go on 4 vacations a year, have $100,000 saved up in the bank account. I don't have to ever touch. Okay, cool, right? What is your identity? Like, who are you? What do you deserve, right? If that's your goal, then Dre didn't give you that goal. Dre gave you the vehicle with the mobile notary business to help you reach that goal faster, with more clarity, in a more efficient way. If you're not going to reach that goal unless Dre gives you a blueprint, right, you're not even ready for entrepreneurship, right? Because Dre just going to give you the vehicle, and you could drive that vehicle. I don't recommend you do this. Somebody else will drive that vehicle into chasing women, a life of drugs and alcohol, and ruin their life. It's the same vehicle. This vehicle will make you a lot of money. What you do with the money, Dre not gonna come knock on your door. Hey, brother, you need to drink some water, man. I've been seeing your Instagram. You ain't had nothing but Hennessy and strippers all up and down your timeline. Hey, man, you need some water. Man, you need some watermelon juice. You need something, man. Hey, so getting back to it, if you need a mentor to reach your goals, you got an identity crisis, right? You should say, hey, look, no matter what, with me and God alone, I'm going to eventually reach this goal. When I come to Dre is going to help me reach my goals faster, but he's not going to help me inevitably reach my goal. I'm going to make myself inevitably reach my goal. This is why that is super important. As long as you put your future in the hands of somebody else, you will never reach the goals you set for yourself. If you can't do it unless Dre hold your hand, you can't do it unless JT hold your hand, right? So the first thing we got to do is, what's your identity? Are you going to reach this goal no matter what? You might not know exactly how you going to do it, but you know, I'm going to consistently take actions to get to this result, because that's how I see myself. After we establish your identity, then we're going to go into your messaging. Your messaging is how you express your identity with the world. If Dre says, I'm going to have $100 million, or maybe that's too low for Dre. Dre going to have $1 billion global notary business, right? Well, guess what? Dre can't partner with you on your $100,000 a year business idea and split it with you 50-50 after Dre put up the money and Dre leveraged his audience and you just did all of the work on the deliverable side. Why? Because if Dre is building a $1 billion company, how many $50,000 do he got to make per year to make his $1 billion? He's not going to live long enough to do that. Right? Yeah. Now, Dre also knows that Dre can't, like, there is no benefit in Dre playing minor leagues, right? So, hey, if I'm going to build $1 billion company, I need to already understand that what I'm asking is going to require me to be around a certain level of people. I'm not saying cut off people unless these people are negative people. They're taking away from you. They're not adding to your life, right? But I'm telling you, add to your circle. Hey, if let's say Dre want to build $1 billion company, but if he isn't at 6 figures yet, his first thing is, let me get around some 6-figure notaries. Let me learn that. Okay, once I master that, let me get around some notaries that make $1 million a year. And then, okay, does anybody make 8 figures, 9 figures? Right? So, and I'm not saying cut off the 6-figure notaries, right? But I'm saying you constantly expanding your circle with people that level up, right? And hopefully those people level up with you, right? Dre was with me my first year on YouTube, and my first year on YouTube, I only got like 20,000 followers, right? So when Dre was like, hey, you want to do this show every week? I didn't say how many followers you got, how many views per show. I need to make this much money an episode. I say, man, hey, this brother been solid since I met him, right? Before I even knew as much business as I know now, right? He always came, always led with value, always showed love. Hey, bet, like, and Drake can attest to this. We'll never talk money, right? Hey, true. Dre, you need me for this? Cool, right? Boom. Hey, if if down the line it makes sense to do something, split money, cool, whatever. But hey, Dre was like, hey man, look, boom. The only reason I missed Dre event is because the valet sent me on a wild goose hunt. But Dre was like, hey, bro, I'm doing an event. I need you to come speak on social media. Hey, bro, let me see. As long as I ain't got nothing already scheduled to do with my family or other commitments, because I like to keep my word. Hey, I'm going to pencil you in. I'm going to be there. Boom. Okay, I'm speaking Friday at Dre event from 4 to 4:30 or whatever time frame he want me to talk about whatever the topic is, right? Bet I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be prepared, and I'm gonna deliver like Dre gave me $1 bazillion to be there, right? so okay, first we got identity, got that. Then you got your messaging. So now you understand that if your goal is a big goal, then you trying to flip something to make $100, it's not even the best use of your time.
It ain't
right?
gonna work. Yeah.
So you might have to leverage credit. You might have to leverage partnerships. You might have to leverage the money you really don't want to spend, right? I've done a lot of stuff, all legal, ethical, and moral, but a lot of stuff that I didn't want to do in order to get my business where it is now, right? I didn't want to pay some of these mentors $15,000, $30,000, $50,000. It wasn't an emotional decision though. Right. So we got to understand that if I'm going to be that successful as a person, right, I got to be able to separate my emotions with my business acumen. My business acumen, they ain't no good instinct when you ain't got no successful business. Right. So, hey, when your business gets successful because you have experience, a team, and etc., then we'll trust your gut. Right. In the beginning, we're going to trust that mentor. So that's our message. And then we get into the tactics. Now, we do that in order because if I get your identity right, if I get your messaging right, so how you express yourself to the world right, the tactics are easy. The only things that are different between where you are now and where you're trying to go is, do you have the time, the knowledge, and the ability of the future version of yourself? And we would dissect those in order. First and foremost, if Dre wants to build $1 billion company, does Dre have the time to learn and then apply what he learns to build $1 billion notary company? If he says no, because I have these other obligations, the first hurdle we must cross is giving Dre his most valuable asset, which is, how do you have the time to learn and apply what you learn to build your $1 billion empire? Right. Once we figure out how to audit his time, then it's, do you have the knowledge? Do you even know what to do to make $1 billion notary company? If the answer is no, then we have to figure out how can we go acquire the knowledge in the shortest window of time. Right. So now we might have to pay a mentor. Right. We might have to hire, because a lot of people, they think of high ticket as just going to go pay a mentor. Right. Dre might figure out, in order to build $1 billion company, he got to have people on his payroll that he paid $250,000 a year because they the best in the world at what they do, right? And you so afraid to get somebody $5,000, right, to show you the way to do it yourself. You definitely not gonna trust to get somebody $250,000 to do it for you on an annual basis, because you're gonna say, what if they quit? What if they run and then I don't know how to do every aspect of my business, right? So if you have those questions, your identity and your messaging is off, right? That's how I could tell if you only got the tactics, you don't got the identity, you don't got the messaging, right? JT is going to build $100 million media company, right? No matter what. So there's certain opportunities. I tell people when they like, hey man, I got this play to make 100,000. I wish you the best, but to be honest, bro, no disrespect to you, but that's not the path that I'm on. Right. If I'm trying to serve this many people, and it's not arrogance, it's not cocky, it's straight up math. Right. I'm gonna use my calculator. Y'all know I got a handy dandy calculator here. So if I do $100 million, let's say I partner with you. I say we leverage my social media, my business acumen, but you got to do the deliverable work, and I'll show you how to do all of that. But we'll make 100,000 a year. I'll bring in the customers. I'll sell the customers on the deliverable, and then I'll teach you how to deliver what I already sold them on. You say, okay, cool. If you bring them in and sell them, I'll deliver it. We do 100,000 a year. We bust it down the middle, 50,000 a piece. Now, this is, of course, assuming no expenses, which is not even real life. So our cut might be 40-something thousand, 30-something thousand a piece after all expenses. But let's say it wasn't. Let's say magically I could do this with zero costs, right? Now you get 50,000, I get 50,000. My goal is to build $100 million company. If I divide $100 million by 50,000, I need 2,000 of you.
Okay.
Now, who want to deal with 2,000 partners? Now, you can have 2,000 customers where we do transactions. They get more value than the money that I charge, but having to deal with them in a partnership is a whole nother level, right? I now have to expand my mental bandwidth to identify problems proactively and solve them. Identify problems once they arise and what's the fastest way to solve them. Make plans. The amount of commitment that comes if you're going to really do a true partnership, you can't do 2,000 partnerships yourself. It's impossible, right? Yeah, it's impossible. Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, they don't even do that many partnerships, right? They have other people on their team that they assign to do just that, right? And so now we talking about even bigger plays, because if I want to make 50,000, but I want to build an infrastructure where now I can give you my acumen, my IQ, my business acumen, but not me, right? I got to be able to pay to have that in place, plus turn 50,000. By the time we do the splits, you working for me for $3,000 a year, right? So it doesn't make sense. So that being said, right, it's the equivalent of if somebody was a newborn baby and you say, hey, look, man, I got this tomahawk steak and I love this tomahawk steak. They taste amazing. I'm going to feed it to the baby. You going to kill the baby, right? The baby is too small for that level of business. So now breaking it down, you need the time, you need the knowledge, you need the ability, right? A lot of you all aren't willing to get good at anything. You want to go make money fast, but you're not willing to go learn a skill fast. And that's the disconnect, right? We call that cognitive dissonance for all of the psychology scholars out there. And I usually don't use big words. I Google real good, so I'm going to steal one out of the dictionary. Cognitive dissonance is the difference in behavior and expectations. If I oversimplify it, that's what it is. So you say you want to make money fast, you ain't got no skill that can allow you to make money fast, but you're not willing to learn the skill fast. You want somebody to hold your hand step by step, 365 days out the year to learn the skill, but you want to make the money tomorrow, preferably today, because tomorrow is a day late, right? So you got to conquer your cognitive dissonance. Hey, just as fast as you want to make money, you need to be willing to give value to somebody else in greater proportion than what you charge. I'm not telling you to reduce your prices. I'm telling you to increase your value.
I love it. Last question for you, JT.
Yep.
You did an interview with somebody who's tearing up the internet.
Yep.
What did you learn from this wonderful lady?
Oh, yes. Yep. All right. That's Mrs. I think it's Mrs. or Miss Alicia Little, the queen of AI. Man, what I learned is that every business has a use case for AI. I don't care if you have a product-based business, a service-based business. Of course, infopreneurs have already been on it because they say we can write an ebook and put it out there and make money, which is true. But she showed me that every business, right? If you got a healthcare spa, if you got a notary business, you got a landscaping company, right? You can say, hey, look, you know what? This is my goals. This is what I have. This is what I believe. Tell me in detail how to go from where I am to where I'm trying to go, and it will give you the roadmap. So if you say, hey, I got $500, I want to make $1 million a year. I'm afraid to invest in myself. I want to have an online business. What should I do? ChatGPT will tell you a roadmap. Now, you might not like the roadmap because it might tell you have to change your mindset, change this, change that, right? And first, you got to get stable before you can work on growth. So it's going to give you a route to stability before it gives you a route to abundance, because that's just how the game goes, right?
Yeah.
But there's a use case for AI in every business. It can tell you what to do when you need the answer, right? Now, understand this. Just giving somebody the information ain't enough, which is why you still need to tap in with Dre. You still need to tap in with JT for mentorship. It's the equivalent of if if grandmama was the best cook in the family, she wrote down all the recipes and had the best penmanship so we could read it perfectly. And then the cookbook end up in our sister hand, and the macaroni always tastes messed up. The potato salad always wrong. The chicken don't never taste like grandmama's. And she like, nah, I'm looking at, she say use this much flour, this much sugar, this much whatever, right? But she don't have a coach. Right? She don't have somebody that can look at her and say, okay, yeah, you got all of the steps, but you don't understand how powerful the psychology of the steps are, right? I had a gentleman that jumped on a coaching call with me, and he said, will you take a look at my funnel? Because I've been spending money. I've been spending like $400 a day or whatever on my funnel. I haven't made a single sale, but I know you making money off of yours. So the first thing I asked him, I said, okay, tell me why you did what you did, right? I'm not here to just try to like tear your whole thing apart and tell you how bad it is. Okay, what are we trying to accomplish? And why are we going about it this way? So that way I can understand how you think. So that way I can make sure that I'm cognizant of that when I give you my response and we work out a strategy, right? His answer was, I went and saw yours. I was like, okay, you went and saw my what? I went and clicked one of your links, and I saw you had a page like this. I said, did you buy the offer and see, the rest of it? He said, nah, I ain't buy the offer. But then I saw, I heard you say you use this tool. So I went and I got a free trial of that tool, and I made something that looks like what I thought I saw when you did it, but mine not working, right? So you had the tactics, at least so you thought, but you didn't know the psychology of it, right? So he thought he was say it again.
He skipped like 2 or 3 steps.
For sure, because he knew what he saw. He didn't know what was going on.
But why would somebody, not talking about him in particular, but why would somebody pay you, because I know you charge a good amount of money, pay you that money, but not pay the little money?
Yep. You said not pay the little money?
Yeah, because of the offer. How much was the offer that he saw on your funnel?
I think that was like a $47 offer on the front end.
All right. So you cost at least $1,000 to get on the phone, right? Bare minimum. So why would somebody skip the $47, but they're willing to pay the $500? Why not just get everything you got going on?
Yeah, because of pain. If that brother could have figured it out on his own, we would have never had that conversation.
Okay.
Right. And I'm not saying that I'm a gatekeeper. Here's the thing. When I design products, services, and offers for my business, I design them to grow my business. Now, could they serve as a learning lesson for somebody that's trying to hack the system? If you understand why I did it, right? So, for example, we know every business should have low ticket, mid ticket, and high ticket offers. Somebody will hear that and say, well, I'm going to have a $10 book. I'm going to have a $1,000 course. I'm going to have a $10,000 mentorship program. All right. That's my low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket. Well, why? I don't know. They just said I should have $10, $1,000, $10,000. Right. Well, your low ticket offer should serve your ad spend. Have you ever heard people say I didn't have any money to run on ads? Right. Your low ticket offer serves your ad budget. Right. So every $10 book you sell 10 of them a day. You got $100 a day in ad spend to run for forever. Right. That money, not your money. Right. You trying to live off of low ticket money because you heard somebody tell you that. You had no idea of the psychology. You just made a $10 book with no upsells, no downsells. You made a $1,000 course. You made a $10,000 mentorship. You have no idea even what to do with the money. So even if you do have a run, eventually you say, oh, well, that used to work back during COVID. It don't work no more. No, it still worked. You just didn't know how to work it the first time, right? You got lucky and made sales and assumed that you understood the business. So that $10 ebook that you sell 10 of them a day, you make $100 a day. That's your ad budget for forever, right? Once you sell 100 of them a day, right? And now you can up that 10 with that $100 to what that would be like $1,000 a day. Now you got $1,000 a day ad budget straight off your ebook. Right? Somebody that didn't know the strategy, you started living off of $100 a day. You started living off of $1,000 a day. When the ebook sales slow down, you have no way to put something back into it to scale it back up, right? Because you never knew the psychology. Okay, well, what's the $1,000 course supposed to do? The $1,000 course pays for my software and my team. Have you ever heard people say that they got burnt out? How you burnt out with a mid-ticket offer? Because you heard somebody say you got a mid-ticket offer, but you don't know what to do with the money. So your mid-ticket offer, that $1,000. So let's say for every 10 books you sell, right, you get one person to buy your mid-ticket offer, right? Let's say for every 10 people that buy your mid-ticket offer, you have one person buy your high-ticket offer. So just for easy math. So 10 sales on your ebook, you make $100 in ebook sales. You make $1,000 through your mid-ticket. You run $100 a day in ads. You can run ads for forever, right? So even if ebook sales organically start to taper off, you got the money to keep putting money in ads through Meta, Google, or whatever to keep selling your low ticket offer, right? Your low ticket offer is sending them up to your $1,000 course, right? If you sold 100 books, then that means that if we're saying every 10 you sell one course, you sold 100 of those books, right? You made, let's do some quick math. Bear with me. We nerding out, but it's important, right? The overall message here is why you need a mentor. So you spend 100, right? 100 times 10, right? So you made $1,000 in book sales. That's your ad budget, right? But for every 10 of those books you sold, one of those people also wanted your mid-ticket offer, right? So you also sold 10 of those $1,000 things. You got another $10,000, right? Let's say for every 10 of those you sell, just to oversimplify it for the sake of time, you got one person to buy your $10,000 offer. Now, these numbers aren't exact, so it depends on how good your offer is and other nuances. So don't leave here because somebody gonna watch this, try to do it, and still fail, right? So I just want you to understand a little bit of the psychology. I don't got the time to break it all down. That's why you got to tap in with Dre to learn the whole play, right? So I make $1,000 in book sales. I sold 100 books, right? I also made $10,000 on the mid ticket, right? 10 of those 100 people bought my mid ticket, right? I got $1,000 to run in ads. I got $10,000. Do you think I can afford to hire a VA for $5 an hour, right? Pay them $500 a month now out of that 10 grand. Do you think I can now afford to have Go High Level or ClickFunnels or Kajabi or Gumroad or Beehive or whatever software I need for my business out of that 10 grand, right? Well, okay, well, what about the $10,000 sale? That's money for you, right? This is how you don't starve a business, right? What most people do, I made $1,000 in ebook sales. Bro, I'm out of here. Bro, I'm about to go to Applebee's 2 for $25 for the whole restaurant on me. Right? I'm balling. But then winter is inevitably coming, like we said earlier, right? Okay, now people, not that the book is bad, but people got numb to the advertisement, right? You only was promoting it organically. You only was promoting it with affiliates that have an organic audience. So you never tapped into paid ads. The same people been seeing the same ad. A chunk of them bought it. Some of them, they just numb to the message, so they tune it out now. They're not even really hearing the offer no more, right? But if you had paid ads going, you could consistently serve that to a lookalike audience or to an audience of people that are like the audience that already liked it, but just don't know you exist, don't know your offer exists. So your low ticket, that's your ad budget. Your mid ticket, that covers your staff and your software. Your high ticket, right, that's the money you put in your pocket, right? Because you live like this, not only do you have a business that can run without you because you never starved the business, if you don't make a $10,000 sale this week, you ain't made no money this week. That's your mentality. I don't care how many books you sold. I don't care how many mid-ticket offers you sold. You now have more money to put back into the business, right? That's going to force you to become a better entrepreneur because I don't make money if I don't sell my high-ticket offer. I don't care if I make $1 million in book sales. I now can run $1 million in ads. That's Sam Barr, which is the CEO of Google, or Mark, who is the CEO of Meta, right? So that's their money, right? I made $1 million to grow my business with ads. I made $1 million on the mid-ticket offer. I can now hire the best people in the world to come work for me, and they can use the best software money can buy, right? But JT still broke, right? So now it's going to force me to become a better business owner because I don't make money until I make a high-ticket sale, right? So now you not only do you got the psychology of it, Now you know, okay, man, look, I got to do better business. I'm not comparing myself with anybody else, but times is hard. And I say, you know what, man, I was a little short on the light bill. I had to dip in some of my ebook money to pay the light bill. I had to dip in some of my course money to pay the light bill. You know what that means? That I need to get better at marketing my ebook. I need to get better at marketing my course, right? Is it my offer? Is it my audience? Like, you know, where's the disconnect, right? So now just by knowing that, now what if you just saw somebody that said you could buy my book for $10, buy my course for $1,000, buy my mentorship for $10,000, and you say, okay, I'm gonna just do it too. And then you blast everything out there at once. You don't even put it in a funnel, right? If people see $10 and $10,000, average person gonna spend $10 every single time. Mm-hmm. They might need the $10,000 thing. Understand this, right? A Band-Aid is amazing and it can help you out in a lot of different areas, but not when you got a shotgun wound to the leg. So if the ebook is a Band-Aid and you don't have a Band-Aid size problem, you got a shotgun size problem, you need to spend the 10 grand, right? But because you said this is 10, this is 10,000, they're going to always get the 10, right? Mm-hmm. So why not lead with the 10 so you don't confuse your audience? You give them a Band-Aid. They say, okay, this Band-Aid served the cut. I need a little bit more, right? Okay, well, cool. Well, hey, you know what? We got a first aid kit. They got some other stuff in it as well, right? That's $1,000. Okay, yeah. Man, the first aid kit had some stuff that the Band-Aid didn't do. Had a little alcohol in there, had this, had that. Cool. All right, well, hey, you know what? 10,000 is the surgery that'll save your life. That's really what I want. And I trust to give you the $10,000 because you gave me a Band-Aid, you gave me a first aid kit, now you gave me the surgery, right? I don't feel like you just trying to overcharge me for the surgery. We've already had a relationship. You already tried to fix it with a Band-Aid and you realize that just giving you the tactics in business wasn't enough. Whew. So then you tried it in a course and you realize just giving you the tactics and giving you the tools ain't enough.
Yeah, enough.
You need me. The book gave you the tactics. The course gave you the tactics and the tools. You still can't figure it out, right? One last reference. I told you my uncle is a general contractor in Charleston, South Carolina. If I gave you all the materials to build $1 million house, my uncle says right now his cost on a house that they will build and sell for $1 million is between $300,000 to $400,000. That's materials and labor. He can do it in 30 to 45 days, depending on the design of the house. If my uncle was to just drop off, hey, here's my workers, here's my materials, Dre, JT, you watching this, I want you to use this team, use this materials. I'll be back in 45 days with a buyer to give you $1 million. Here's the blueprint, have that house up and running. All of us would just break down crying because we're like, man, listen, I got all the materials. I got all of the team. The team is like, hey, sir, what you want us to do? I want you to build a house. Well, you want us to frame it? Right? We can, like, I'm a framer. You want me to frame it first? Oh, I don't know, frame it. You don't frame a house first. Ain't no foundation, right? You talking, so you got the team. If you don't even know what order to use the team in, the team is like, I'm going to do whatever you pay me to do. If the framer gonna say, hey, boss say frame the house before it's a foundation, guess what they gonna do, man? We just trying to get paid. Frame this house up on this grass, right? That's what he said he wanted. He didn't want no foundation, cool, right? Okay, after the framing, right? You know what? Now let's put a roof on it, and then let's do a foundation, right? Like, hold, frame it, put a roof on it, then a found. Like, man, and that's what you get when you got all of these tools, you got all of this information. You have no idea what order to use the stuff in.
Stop trying to do it yourself. JT, you're going to be on the road this week?
Yep. I'm not going too far, going up the road, Charlotte, North Carolina, Thursday through Sunday, starting next week. And Dre, if you're not doing this, I want to encourage you to at least consider it as well. Starting next week, we're launching our Rich Off Content Creation free webinar. I've decided that every single week, I'm going to be doing a free webinar where I break down how I became rich off content creation in a way that is beginner friendly. So, Now I'm buying houses just to do content in. That don't make sense, right? Not for a beginner, right? Not for a beginner. So I'm going to tell you how do you start, so that way you could get the money. And if you want to buy a house just to make content out of it, you can. But if you just want to do whatever else, right, with it, you can, right? So Rich Off Content Creation launches next week. And yeah, man, just excited.
Love it, love it, love it. Shout out to JT. Make sure you subscribe. We will see you next week. JT and Brother Dre Show. Peace.
Yes, sir.